In this video, I'm gonna give you the top 5 things I actually hate about my 2008 Audi R8. Welcome to the channel. My name is Sonduren. You guys know I love this car. I'm actually headed to get the annual maintenance on this 2008 Audi R8 V8, but I wanted to also give you the top 5 things I actually hate about this car. Put aside the love. These are the things that annoy me the most every day, and I gotta always think about it. It's kind of the quirks of this car. It doesn't deter me from loving this car, but I did want to share the nuances and the bad points of this Audi R8. And I think it starts with number 1 is that it is mechanically complicated. Of course, Sonduren, Canadian rider, it's a supercar. Of course it's mechanically complicated. I know that, but specifically this car does have a lot of nuances and mechanical complications that, you know, for a lot of supercars that's normal. This actually doesn't have too much of that, but it does have them. So when you keep forgetting to yourself, oh great, this car is really reliable, I've owned this car for 4.5 years, the maintenance is pretty straightforward, it does have its mechanical quirks to remind you that it's a supercar. Obviously, number 1, it's a supercar. Number 2, it's a mid-engine design, right? Number 3, a lot of the parts are still, you know, they're not parts bin from Audi, not necessarily, right? A lot of these parts were custom made for the Audi R8. So it is mechanically complicated. A lot of the maintenance that you may have to do may require engine out removal, may require other things that are less common in, let's say, some other cars. So number 1, obviously think about it, depending if you get the manual or the V8 or the R-tronic, it is more mechanically complicated. And if you're thinking about always being able to work on your car, that's not maybe going to be the case. Like, for example, the oil drain plugs, there's like 4 of them or 5 of them. I forgot which number it is, but there's a lot of work to go do that. You can't necessarily go do that at your home. So things to think about, it is mechanically complicated, which is why I go to Bill Sanderson at Garage Auto Sports. He's the pro, one of the best shops in Ontario to deal with all your European exotic cars, and I go to him every year, and that's what we're going to be doing right now. But that's number 1. Number 2 is the quirkiness around 2 of the main drive components. Number 1, the magnetic ride suspension always fails on these cars. That's why you guys seen in a previous video, I went ahead, replaced the magnetic ride suspension with a BC Racing coilover kit. I absolutely love it. It's done a great job, but they all fail. It is a design failure for that magnetic ride suspension, and it is another quirk for you to be aware of. On top of that, outside of just the magnetic ride suspension, that's a quirk that you got to think about. It's also the air conditioning compressor. Now, these cars tend to have a habit of dropping their AC compressors, and when I say dropping, I don't mean falling off the road and on the floor, I mean going bust. There's a lot of potential reasons for this. One of them is actually, you should always be running your AC so that the fluid is going through the system properly to lubricate all the points in the AC unit, because it actually is turning regardless whether it's on or off. So that's another little tip for you when you're looking at this car. Another mechanical thing they always have to think about. Now, number 3 is kind of in the cabin a little bit, which is going to be the cup holders. So the cup holders here are the worst cup holders you can imagine. I feel like no cup I've ever used in these cup holders ever fits in properly. And then my coffee spills. I always end up, when I get my coffee or my tea, I take it, I hold it in my hand first before I do anything, sip it a bit, because I know it's going to cause a huge mess here. Neither one of these cup holders are good enough to hold any cup that I've had. It's like, I don't know which cups they made them for, but clearly no cups in Canada properly fit in these cup holders, and every time I accelerate or turn or go left or right, everything's spilling all the time. I don't know what they did with these cup holders, but that's definitely number 3 in the quirks that I hate about this car. Number 4 is going to be over to my left, and it's these doors. I like the door, but they're so long. They're probably one of the longest doors I've ever personally seen in a car. And no, they're not those nice Lambo scissor doors or anything else from McLaren or Lamborghini, but they're just regular car doors. But they are just super long and super wide, so you have to be mindful when you're opening the doors up anywhere you go that you don't smack on something. Especially when I think about passengers, they don't realize how long these doors are. They could smack into something. So keep that in mind. The doors are long, got big, long, pointy elbows, okay, on this car. Be aware of that, otherwise you're gonna nick up your door, nick up someone else's door, or cause some damage somewhere else, right? So keep that in mind. So that was number 4. Number 5, my final quirk that I hate about this car, and I use the word hate, but it does drive me crazy sometimes, is the fact that the infotainment system is not integrated with the car. Yes, I made a video and I talked about how I can use this phone, right, to go ahead and modernize this car, but it's not 100% perfect. Of course, I wish I had a little bit of a better infotainment system. I always have to go in here, manually charge my Bluetooth to aux adapter, which connects to my phone, right? I cannot charge here where it's placed on my phone. I have to plug it in. This, you have to plug in. The cigarette lighter is not in the best spot to do that. It's all kind of a little bit of an annoyance. It's not the end of the world. And you can tell I'm nitpicking, right? Because I think personally I made a video on this to modernize this car for everyday usage that I need to do. I go ahead, I have a mag ride or a magnetic ring. This is the Apple MagSafe connector. It connects onto this, bang, I'm done, and that's it. And we're done. So it's pretty simple to go do that. And honestly, it does the job for 99% of the use cases. But it is a small annoyance that I have to keep the Bluetooth auxiliary adapter charged. I have to make sure I manually pair it all the time to my phone. I also can't use my voice audio because it's connecting to the microphone in the aux port over here, which is terrible. All of these small little things, little minor hiccups that drive me crazy, but it's not the end of the world. So those are my top 5 things that I hate about my 2008 Audi R8. And you could say hate is a strong word. You know, I always joke around with my wife. I love her and I kind of hate some of the quirks sometimes that she has, but that is actually why I love her. And so that's the same thing that I feel about this car. These quirks kind of make it lovable in a way and unique. But those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment box down below. Would these things bug you to the point where it would drive you crazy to sell? I don't think it's doing that for me. I don't think it's enough to sell the car, absolutely not. But it's just funny, annoying things that you deal with every day that reminds you you're in something unique. And it's not like the perfect daily driver, which this is not intended to be. So really, this is just me nitpicking about the love of my life with this car. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to follow me along on this journey with this car. I'm actually headed to Bill again, as I mentioned, to go do the 60,000 kilometer maintenance. We're doing a checkup, and we're also doing the oil change, the annual oil change on this car. So follow along the journey, subscribe to the channel. Let's see how this car's condition has been after 15 years, almost 5 years of ownership with this car and 60,000 kilometers. And you can follow along on this channel. I cover everything to do with cars, detailing, car reviews, electric cars, reviews. I do it all on this channel. Follow along on my journey. Love for you guys to join. I think we're almost at 40,000 subscribers, which is awesome news. And I will catch you guys in the next video.